Good morning, architecture students. This video is going to take you up to this point of the section detail, the foundation section detail. Okay, there's still some things that has to be done to this one, but I'm going to take you up to this point in the video. Okay, excuse me. So, going back to my foundation plan right here. And I think I was using a different plan, maybe not. I thought I had drawn that right through there, but anyway, let's come over here to the foundation plan, and we're going to draw a section. So we're going to use our section tool right up here, and we're going to just pick a spot, preferably a spot where you know that the view is not going to be interrupted by any windows or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to draw the section right through here, I think. There it goes. For a second there, it wasn't coming on. And I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Okay, because I want it to look good on my drawing. All right, and then I'm going to double click on it and go into my section. Okay, now you'll notice one thing is missing, and that is the wall. But we're going to fix that in just a moment. Okay, first I'm going to draw this down to about right here. Okay, so I have that view, and then I'm going to pull this over just a tad, and then I'm going to pull over my level over here a little bit. Okay, all right, now I need to get that wall back and just kind of do a little more adjusting here. And those aren't specific adjustments, that's just kind of what I'm seeing that's going to look good. All right, so I'm going to come back to my discipline right over here, because remember I made this from that foundation plan view where the walls were not visible because we had structural turned on. So basically when I make that section view, it still makes a copy of this with structural still turned on. So I'm going to change that to architectural, and now I get my wall back. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is come down here to the bottom to this tool right here, the detail level, set the detail level. I'm going to click on that and set it for fine. And it asks me to save the project, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, and there we go. So Revit, the fortunate thing is Revit takes care of a lot of the drawing for you. That's a wonderful thing. So we don't have to draw all this, it's already drawn for us. All right, now one thing you might see is that your footing you may not have this pattern, this pattern right here, this concrete pattern in your footing. Okay, so all you have to do is click on the footing to get it to highlight. Come over here to Edit Type, right up under the Type selector, and then come into the dialog box that pops up, and right here on Material, you're going to change that to Concrete Cast in Place Gray. Okay, mine is already there. Okay, after you do that, you're also going to come down here to the bottom and change the scale. Our annotation scale for this is going to be 1.5 inches equals 1 foot. Okay, so that's right here, 1.5 inches equals 1 foot. Okay, and you see that made the scale a lot, or the patterns a lot smaller. All right, starting right here, this is our wall. This is where our 2x4 studs and everything else is sitting. And we also have insulation in that wall. All right, so let's draw part of that wall. We're going to draw is the seal plate of the wall. That's that bottom piece of board that goes across the, the bottom for the seal plate. Okay, so we're going to draw that using a detail line. Everything we use is going to be detail line. And of course, that 2x4 is actually what we're looking at drawing is 1.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to draw it as sitting on its side. And we just pull the cursor up till we get 1.5 inches and then draw a line across. And then we can make our X mark in there. Like so. Okay. And go ahead too, now I didn't do this, but I should have, is to check my line style. Okay, so if I click on that line, you can see I'm on wide lines. I don't want it on wide lines. Okay, that's going to be too thick when we actually show this. Now, if you're drawing if you're seeing wide lines in your drawing already, you need to come up here to these little 3 lines that are stacked together and click on it and turn it on. So we're actually viewing thin lines all the way around. Okay, after we get done, we'll go back and turn this off, and you'll see our varying line thicknesses. Okay, but these lines right here should be, I'm going to say medium or thin. I'm going to guess at medium. I really won't know until I actually come back and look at it. Now I also have to get that line and that line. Okay, and put that on medium. Okay, so after I finish, I might even change those to thin lines once I'm done. Okay. Now from here, I want to draw an anchor bolt. And I start with a single line coming right from the middle, right here. So where I start the line at the center, that's like 3/4 of an inch of part of that floor seal. Okay. My bolt has to be a total of 10 inches. It's going to be 7 inches into the concrete. So I'm going to kind of pull it down in the concrete, and I'm going to add that 7 inches plus that 3/4 of an inch to make it 7 3/4 inches, and enter. That way it is in the concrete 7 inches. Okay. Because I started drawing the line 3/4 above the concrete. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the arc tool, and I'm going to just draw this line over about 2 inches. I mean, it doesn't have to specifically be 2 inches, but something around 2 inches would be fine. And now I need to finish drawing my bolt. I'm getting a temporary dimension here that's not giving me the dimension that I'm looking for. So I'm going to drag this line up a little bit to get it into like an empty spot. And I can see the temporary dimension measuring the length. I'm going to click in that temporary dimension and type 10 inches. Okay, so the bolt should actually come up to about right here. That's, a couple of inches above that seal plate. All right, now, if you remember how we annotated this as a 1/2 inch by 10 inch anchor bolt. So we've got the 10 inches. Now we just need to offset it to get the 1/2 inch width, or the diameter. So I'm going back to the detail line tool, but I'm going to click on the offset tool within the modify panel. And then I'm going to type in here 1/4 of an inch, because I'm going to offset this line in both directions equally to make it a 1/2 inch diameter. Okay, so I'm just going to click here, and then come down here to the arc and click on that one and make the arc. Okay, then I'm going to hit on the escape button to get out of the tool. Go to annotate again, go to detail line. Now I'm just going to draw a line to kind of cap off the top and to cap off the bottom. Then I'm going to select the center line and just delete it because I don't need it anymore. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is draw a washer, because you remember we annotated that this comes with a 2-inch washer. Okay, so we want that. Detail line, come to the center. Click, go up about 1/16 of an inch. And then draw over to the side for 1 inch, because it's a 2-inch bolt and we're just drawing half of it right now. Okay, and then close the end just like so. Now I want to flip or mirror this over to the other side. So I'm going to go to, give me 1 second, let me move this thing out of the way. To the modify panel, click on the mirror tool, and click right here. It's not working like I want it to. Okay, let me click on that mirror tool one more time. There we go, now it's working. And just draw up, and I should be flipping that over, but it's not, because I think I forgot to do something. I forgot to select this part of the washer, basically this top line and then this side vertical line, and then click mirror, and now I can do that, and I get the other half of the washer over here. Now I'm going to put a nut at the top of that washer as well. So I'm again going to go to detail line and come here to the center, draw up about 1/2 inch. Now we're not trying to be exact and specific with the size of the nut and the washer exactly. Some parts of it we are, other parts we're not, because they get the picture. Okay, so I'm going to draw this over like 1 inch. And then I'm going to, whoops, I'm sorry, I meant to draw that not 1 inch, but 1/2 inch. That's what I should have done. Okay. And then draw down just back to the top of the washer surface. Select those two lines, those two adjacent lines right there. Click on the mirror tool again and just kind of draw right up the center so it can flip over that axis. All right. Now I need to shade in this anchor bolt. I'm going to shade it all black. So I'm going to go to the region tool. I'm going to click on that. Go over here where it says filled region in the type selector. Click on that and go to solid black. And then I just trace around the outside lines of everything I just drew. Tracing around the outside lines. And that's all I'm doing. Come down here. Now the arc is going to be a little different because, well, we got to make an arc. And I don't think I drew this line far enough. I didn't. Just draw it right there to the end of the arc. Now for the arc, I can either use the arc tool or I can use the pick line tool. This is the pick line tool right here. Click on that and I just selected the arc. And I can even continue with the pick line tool and get that line and get this line. The only reason I'm not doing it here is because I don't want to select the line up through there. I'm going to go back to the line tool and then trace all around the outside perimeter of everything I just drew. Whoops, I went in way too far on that line. So I'm going to drag it back out here. And I cannot remember if I drew a line up here. I didn't. Now I should have all the lines. You can kind of go back and double check because the only thing that should light up when you're in this tool or in this mode is what you just finished working on. All right, so now I'm going to click the check mark, and that's another way you can tell if it all lights up blue just like this. That means you did it right. Then I'm going to click off of it, and we have an all black anchor bolt. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is go to my insulation. I'm going to put insulation in here. This is insulation right here. I'm going to click on that, and the size of this insulation is found right here. That's where you set the size. Now, of course, it is currently set for 3.5 inches, which is correct because we're using a 2x4 wall. If you needed it to say something else, then you would simply just type in that dimension. I'm going to come to the center of my anchor bolt and just draw this insulation all the way up. Okay, so that represents the insulation that is inside the wall. We don't draw the studs in here because that's just common sense. We know studs are there. And we really know insulation is going to be there too, but we draw it anyway. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some hatching inside of my sheathing. That's this thin layer of plywood that we put against the framing material to help stabilize that and build a, have like a hard surface between you and the outside. So I'm going to go to region, go over here to the type selector, and this one I'm going to click on diagonal crosshatch. Okay, and I'm just using the line tool, and I'm just going to draw a line straight through the perimeter, or straight over the perimeter. And then click the green check mark, and now I have my plywood texture in there. Okay. All right. Lastly, what I have to do is I have to cut out a segment down here for the brick wall, because the brick wall needs to come down into the what we call a brick ledge. This is going to be the brick ledge. All right. And that needs to come down a little bit further than the rest of the wall by about 5 inches. All right. I'm going to click on the region tool again. I'm going to see if this works. I've been doing it one way that's a little bit longer, I think. And if this works, what I want to happen works, then that actually kind of takes half of the work out of it. So I'm going to click on the region tool again. I'm going to do a filled region, but this time I'm going to do diagonal up to match this hatching right here inside of the brick wall. So diagonal up, I'm going to come right over here to the edge. I'm going to draw down. Now, I've got it marked, or I've got it set with invisible lines. I probably need to change that. I can't change it right now, so I'm going to have to escape. Now I can change it. And go back to, let's do thin lines. Okay, now I'm going to draw down 5 inches. 5, that's 4, 5 inches. And then draw over here, and then finish up by completing the rectangle. Click on the green check mark, and there we go. So now we have the equal hatching, matching hatching in here, so they can see it, say, okay, well, that brick wall goes all the way down. Sometimes I like to try and get rid of this top line here, but you're going to have your level line through there anyway, so it's not going to matter if you try to get rid of that top line. And there you go. So I've gotten you to that point. This is where we're at. The only thing we have left to do is a little dimensioning and annotating. Okay, we're going to do that. And what I think I'll do, I won't go over the video with you on that. I will just I'll draw it up, and you'll have the sample, and you look at the sample and just label yours the same way. All right. Thank you for viewing.